one thing that the SPSSI community means to me is that it's a place where scholars join together and value and cultivate their expertise in research on social concerns. That's something that SPSSI has been about since its very earliest days, and SPSSI has a long history, so that's another thing that SPSSI means to me, is that it's connecting me with scholars who have been involved in social issues research for many, many decades, and from many decades past. So when we do this work, we're not just de novo inventing something, but we are instead connecting our work with the work of other scholars. In addition, SPSSI has a strong policy presence and cultivates, again, expertise in policy work, and so there's a real value there and an investment of resources in connecting our research findings as well as the formulation of our research questions all through the research process. We're looking at what difference we can make. And I would say in addition that SPSSI's values are congruent not just with my own research values but also with my teaching values. It turns out that my dad worked he was a faculty member at a historically black university, and I spent time with him there, and I am sure that that was a big influence on my socialization as a scholar. I work now at a place where a lot of the students are the first people in their families ever to go to college or university. And I'm proud of that, and I'm really glad to be a part of that work, and I think that's very congruent with SPSSI's values. Well, to a large extent, social issues research has provided us as a scientific community and as a citizenry with some of the most exciting findings in research, and it's also provided a way for us to develop some of the most valuable methods, I believe, in research. And so the innovation of methods has also been a real pull for me in social issues research. So for example, social scientists who work on social issues tend to get involved in what we call messy data sets, meaning that things are not terribly tidy all the time in terms of our design or our analysis or the ways in which we need to proceed in our inquiry. Well, when we think rigorously about how to ask the questions we need to ask, how to answer those questions, we need sometimes to develop innovations in our research methods. And so, for example, quantitative analyses have become more complex in part and more helpful in part because of addressing issues that are really social issues. Qualitative research is another area in which we see methods innovative to psychology, which are helpful in answering questions that matter for us. And then another related thing is the development of what we now call community-based participatory research. One of the forebears of community-based participatory research is action research, and that's very much part of Kurt Levine's legacy. And so we see a way in which people who are involved in rigorous work on social issues are able to help to answer questions in a more scientifically valuable way. Well, I first joined SPSSI as a graduate student, and when I joined, almost all the graduate students where I went to grad school were members of SPSSI. I actually think that at the time I sort of took it for granted because it was so normative. It was just an understanding that, of course, we're going to be participating in an organization of this importance and also an organization that embodies these values. It was really when I moved out of grad school and started my career as a faculty member that it hit home how key SPSSI would be for me in my own professional development. I really became thirsty for a professional organization where I could connect with other scholars who had worked hard to develop expertise in the kind of work that we were doing. Now, I have colleagues, of course, at my own institution who also have this expertise, and a number of us are SPSSI members. But it's really in faculty life that you start to see where the resources and the really the perspectives that SPSSI members can bring to topics of concern that's just a marvelous, marvelous thing to have. Young scientists have in SPSSI a real opportunity for supporting their own flourishing as scholars. It's great to have new scholars joining SPSSI. One of the things that new scientists can do is to join and to subscribe to the journals and to read them and consider publishing in them. In addition, people can submit for the SPSSI conferences or for the SPSSI events at other non-SPSSI conferences, to connect with SPSSI members, to attend the social hours at those conferences. Those are really good ways to connect with people. In addition, you don't have to be at a place with a SPSSI chapter, local SPSSI chapter as such, in order to connect with other SPSSI members in your locality. So I would say when you are at a SPSSI conference and you meet other people who are from your own vicinity, connect with them and keep that connection going, because it's a way to inform your own work and maybe read each other's papers and to help to develop your own questions in ways that are going to be supported by other local scholars. In my case, I started to focus my research on social issues while I was in grad school. I was really fortunate to work in a context that valued research on social issues, and things worked out for me to be able to pursue a dissertation topic that was really addressing an important issue to me and to society as well. But I think that a lot of people who bring valuable expertise to this kind of work may be past their graduate school days when they're considering moving into this kind of work. So I would say the best time for anybody to start doing research on social issues is now.